Student. So today I am going to discuss some more MySQL command to change the structure of tables of a database. So the first one is destroying table. Destroying table means sometimes we need to it is required to completely delete a particular table from the database, okay, and that is known as destroying table, okay, and that is for that you have to write some SQL command, and the SQL command format is drop. Write the drop command. After that write table, drop table, then if exist after that table name. So for completely deleting a table from the database, we use the drop command of MySQL, then give the table name. Actually the if exists, if you require, it is actually optional. If you want this statement, then you can write it or you can skip it, okay, or after that you write the table name. Actually the if exists statement is used sometime. What happened, some errors are occur at the time of the deletion of a table. To prevent the occurrence of errors at the time of deletion of a table, the if exit statement is right in a drop table statement to destroying a table, okay, but it is if you do not require, you can skip it, okay. So now for destroying a table we use the drop table. That means after the drop command you give the write the table and give the table name, okay. So suppose I want to drop the table student from the database permanently. For that you just write drop, what is the table, drop, and you write table, drop table, and give the table name, that is student, okay. So when you write drop table student, that table student completely deleted from the database, okay. So this is the format to delete a table from the database, okay. And if exists, this is optional. If you require, if you need, then you can write the if exists statement to prevent the occurrence of errors at the time of deletion of a table, okay, or you can skip it, okay. Now the next one is add or delete constraint. Add or delete constraint. Constraint means when you create the table structure, we can put some fixed value, or you can specify some specific quality or a specific characteristic of a field or of a column, okay. Like you can set a primary key for a column, or you can use the null or not null constraint in a table structure. Okay, now we are going to discuss how to add or delete constraint. Suppose you create a table, for example the student table. In that table you do not specify any primary key. Okay, and the primary key, you have to set a primary key for a table. That is very important. Why? Because the primary key will help to uniquely identify one record from the table. Okay, so after creating the structure, you can add a primary key for the table. Okay, and for that what to do? You have to write alter table student. Okay, for my in the student table I want to add a primary key. Okay, so here I write alter table student, give the table name. After that you write add command, and what I want to set a primary key, so that's why I write add primary key, add primary key, round bracket, roll number. Okay, so look at here, in the table student I have a column or field name, that is roll number. And now after creating the structure of the table, after that I want to set the roll number field of the table student as primary key, which is not specified at the time of table creation. Okay, so that's why I use a MySQL statement, that is alter table student. This is the table name. Okay, so alter table, give the table name. In here my example is the name, table name is student. After that you give the add command and write the primary key, as because here I want to set a primary key. After that give the field name, to which you want to put it as a primary key. In the table student I have a field that is roll number, and I want to set it as a primary key. So that's why I am writing this SQL command. So when you execute it, the MySQL command set the roll number field of the table student as primary key. Okay. Now after that, if required, you can also delete the primary key. Suppose you set the primary key for a particular field of a table, and now you require that it is not necessary, so that you can delete it. For deleting the primary key of a particular field, so we can write alter table. After that give the table name. Here my example, for my example is the table name is student. After that, instead of add, here you write drop. Instead of add, you write drop primary key. So no need to specify the field name. So if you write alter table student drop primary key, then this statement delete the primary key constraint from the table student. Okay, so this is how you can add or delete the primary key of a table. Okay, now actually in MySQL it is not possible to add or drop not null constraint explicitly after the creation of the table. That means you create the table, at the time of the creation of the table you put the null or not null constraint in the table. Now it is not possible, after creating the table it is not possible to alter the null or not null constraint of the table, which is already specified in the table structure. But it is possible by using the modify clause of the alter table. By using the modify clause of the alter table command, we can change the constraint, not null or null constraint. Okay, suppose we want to accept null value in student name field. So we have a table that is student, and then in the student table we have a column name or field name that is student name. Now I want to accept null values for that student field column of the table, and for that you have to write alter table student. So after that you write modify, as because you cannot change the null or not null constraint of a table after its creation. It is possible by using the modify clause only. Okay, so after alter table student, so you use the alter table command of the MySQL. After that, give the table name. Here in my example the table name is student. After that you write modify student name varchar 20 not null. Okay, so by using alter table command of of MySQL, you can put not null constraint to the field of the table name student. Okay, and again if you want a null value for the field student name, instead of not null you can write null. That means by using the modify command of the MySQL, you can change the null or not null constraint of a particular field of a table. Okay, now I am going to discuss another statement or command of MySQL, that is select command. Okay, this is one of the most important command of MySQL, and you are going to use this select command frequently whenever you are going to access the database. Okay, for accessing or retrieving the database, we are going to use the select command of MySQL. Okay, so there are three ways to retrieve data from a table. That means after creating the table, at the time of the creation of the table, you specify the data column names, data types, constraint if required. Okay, and you can change the structure of the table after creation also. Okay, after creating the table, you insert data values into the table. Okay, now the select command is used to display the data values of a table. Okay, and there are three ways to display the data value of a table by using the select command. So they are: number one, selected columns and all rows. Number two, selected rows and all columns. And number three is selected columns and selected rows. Okay, so these are the three different methods for displaying the data values of a particular table using the select command. So that is selected columns and selected rows, then selected rows and all columns, selected columns and selected rows. Okay, in the first method, we are going to select, in a table there are many columns. Okay, so at the time of displaying the data value of a table, you can skip some of the column from the table. That means you can select the required columns from the table and you can display all the rows. That means all the data value that are present, that are inserted for that particular columns, you can display on the computer screen. That is selected column. Instead of displaying all the columns name along with all the data value present inside the rows, you can select the required columns and you display all the rows. That is all the data value present in the rows. After that, selected rows and all columns. Now in the second method, you are going to select some particular rows. That means in a table, suppose we have thousands of rows, that is thousands of record pages. Instead of displaying all the rows, I am going to display some selected rows on the computer screen of all columns. That means in the second method, we are going to display all the columns of the table but selected rows. Okay, after in the third method, that is selected columns and selected rows. That means in the third method, we are going to display required columns and required rows of the table. Okay, now I am going to discuss the first one, that is selected columns and all rows. Now for this, for writing, how to write the format for displaying the selected columns and all rows, that is select. You have to write select command of MySQL followed by column name. That means in a table you have many columns. Now using this first method, we are going to select some required columns of the table, that is column, in short I am using COL for column 1, column 2, okay. From table name. Okay. Okay, select column 1, column 2. Suppose table 10 columns present, but from the 10 column I want to display only 2 columns. Some selected columns, 2 selected columns I want to display. So that's why select, name the column number 1 that you want to display and give the column number 2. After that, from table name. That means from which table you want to display these selected columns. Okay. For example, I want to display the roll number and grade column of the table student. For that you have to write select roll number, comma, grade. Select roll number, comma, grade from table name. And what is the table name? That is student. Okay. So when you write this MySQL statement, the select statement will display 2 columns, that is roll number and grade, and it will display all the rows of the table belongs to rows and grade. Okay, so by using selected columns and all rows, you can select required columns to display on the computer screen. And for writing the statement, you have to write the select statement, give the required column name, and separated the column name by using the comma operator. After that you write from and give the table name. Okay, so when you give the table name and you execute the statement, it will display all the selected columns with all rows values. Okay, now move to the second method, that is selected rows, all columns. Now here we are going to put condition. That means based on the condition, instead of displaying all the data values present in the inside the rows of the table, we are going to display only those required rows that in that particular rows we are going to put the condition that satisfy the condition. Okay, so selected rows and column. So here I am going to write the format. Then the format is, here we are going to use the where clause. Okay, so here select. Here I am using a asterisk mark. This is for all, as because you are going to display all the rows of the table. Okay, so that's why here instead of writing the select all rows, I am writing select all. This special symbol stands for all. Okay, select all. After that write from. Select all from. Give the table name, and the table name is student. Okay, select all from student. If you write this statement, then the computer will display all the rows and all the columns of the table. Okay, but what I want to display selected rows and all columns. Okay, for that here I am going to use the where clause, and this will help to select specific rows from the table. So where grade is equal to A1. Okay, now look student, select all from student where grade is equal to 1. Now by using the where clause, the number of rows of the table. I restrict to this by using the where clause you can select the required rows, and in my example select all from student where grade is equal to A. So I have a column in the student table that is grade. Okay, so there are many, for example, there are many grades are there, like grade 1, grade 2, grade 3, etc. Okay, but instead of displaying all the students belongs to different grade, I just want to display the name of those students that belongs to grade is equal to A1. Okay, by using this statement you can display selected rows and all columns from the table. Okay, and the last one is selected rows and selected columns. Okay, selected rows and selected column means here we are going to display selected column and selected rows of a table. Instead of displaying all the rows and all the columns of the table, and now I am going to put some condition through which we can restrict the number of rows and the number of columns of a table. Okay, so for that, for example, same example, that is a table student, that is select roll number. I want to display the roll number from the table. Then grade. I am selecting two columns, that is roll number and grade from table student. Okay. Where again I am using the clause where grade equal to A1. Okay. So when you write this statement, select roll number grade from student where grade is equal to A1. So when you write this statement, only roll number and grade field of the table student will appear on the computer screen, and only those rows are selected rows are displayed where grade is equal to 1. Okay, so this is the method for selected rows and selected columns. Okay, student, to select is one of the most important MySQL command, and this is basically used to display the data values of a table. Okay, and there are three methods for displaying the data value of a table, that is selected rows and all columns. Number 2, selected columns and all rows. And number 3 is selected rows and selected columns. Okay, so student, you please read the books, read the computer book, and try to write yourself the MySQL command. You please practice it. Okay, so that's all for today. Thank you.